Hi, welcome back. It's day 6 of my 365-day level up challenge. My name is Graham Brown. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for your comments and responses so far. Some of you responded to my newsletter, you sent me emails. I will give you my response on day 8, which is the first day of week 2. I'll summarize everything that's happened in the week and also respond to the comments. Some of you have commented on the YouTube videos, which is fantastic. I've enjoyed responding to your comments. It's great to get some feedback. Great to see where you are in terms of achieving your goals in 2017, because this is a journey we're all on together, right? We're on this adventure, this roller coaster that is 2017, and we're all here to try and do our best to make 2017 the best year yet. So this is what the Level Up Challenge is all about. It's about sharing that whole journey. So from my perspective, sharing my daily life in terms of how I go about trying to achieve these goals, my successes and fails, everything out there in front of you, nothing to hide really. Share my goals, what I've learned, tips, hacks and so on. Hopefully some of that will inspire you to go and achieve your goals in 2017 and show you how it could be done, as well as your feedback will inspire me to work harder and improve my game, raise my game. So we can all work and help each other here. So today I want to talk about a key follow-on from yesterday's video, which is about how to deal with failure. Today I want to talk about building a core. So here I am cycling on the mountain bike today. I'm not a mountain biker. I'm a road biker, right? And I love road biking, but I also love mountain biking. They're completely different bikes, completely different setup, different set of muscles used to pedal these bikes, and different sort of, whole sort of mindset in riding the bike. Of course, it's all about going fast, but mountain bike requires certain skills, certain core strengths, and certain, things that you do on a mountain bike you would never do on a road bike, and vice versa, right? But here's the interesting thing is that, to become a really good road biker, you also need to have skills on a mountain bike. The best road bikers also can ride mountain bikes. So this is all about core and building your core skills. And when I cycle, and you'll see this on the video in a minute, when I cycle on my mountain bike along the Kaigan path in Kanagawa in Japan, I do most of my cycling with no hands. Not because I want to show off, well, a little bit, but the main reason is it's all about building a core, because if you have to ride a bike with no hands, you have to build a really strong core. You have to be able to control that bike, not necessarily by brute force, but by able to adapt and change and having that sort of neural pathways, that sort of muscle memory, so if you slightly tilt one way, you can tilt the other way and so on. That's what balance is effectively. But it's about building a strong core. And if you want to become a really good cyclist, you need to build a strong core. The mistake that a lot of cyclists and runners make as well, swimmers as well, is they will focus on doing the miles. So if you want to become a better runner, they'll say you've got to go out and do the miles. You've got to go and run, 100 miles a week, 150 miles a week. If you did 100 miles, you've got to do 120 next week, and so on. And just keep building up and up and up. And that's how they improve, just by increasing the miles, or junk miles, as some runners would call it. And really, that doesn't improve you in as effective way as it could by building your core. Because if you start building your core, which is really the physical core of your body, and those sort of connector muscles that hold everything together, you can achieve so much more power output through your body by having a tight core, because you're not losing energy, you're not sort of using muscles in ways which is not highly effective, you're not sort of ineffective in terms of your energy use. By having a strong core, you, like with a car, if your car rattles or stuff's loose, you're going to lose and dispense a lot of energy in that sort of rattling and that sort of loss of power, right? So it's the same with the body. And running, cycling, swimming, strong core, it's where it's at. If you get to a base level and you really want to improve, if you have an endurance level like me, I'm able to cycle on an Ironman triathlon. I can do 180k on a bike if I'm pushed, right? I can do 6 hours on a bike. I can climb mountains. Going beyond that level is not about doing more and more miles. It's about building a strong core. Same with runners, same with cyclists. And why I bring this up, it's the same with business, finance, everything in life. It's about building a strong core. So that physical core is an analogy for so many things, like in business or in finance or in, personal confidence and so on. And here you can see me riding no hands. This is how I go around, and that is to be able to go around the corners, to be able to cycle around curves and so on without, holding onto the handlebars. You need a strong core. Practice, practice, practice. It's not real sort of, power strength. I don't do weights to build that core. It's all about practice, practice, practice. So for example, if you take personal finance and use that analogy of the core, take that sort of runner situation where a runner would go out and do extra miles or go and do 20 extra miles in the week so they can build up their endurance. After a certain level, that becomes really ineffective. And it's the same with personal finance. After a certain level of income, everything else is it's marginal. You're not going to make any extra wealth by increasing beyond a certain base of income that you achieve on a monthly basis. Everything above that just gets spent. It gets sort of sucked up into your life expenses. If you want to build wealth, you don't build wealth by going out and doing the junk miles, which is effectively earning more money, getting a better paid job. That is not how you build wealth. You build wealth by building a core of assets, namely income producing assets. You build a lifestyle business. You take the cash flow from the lifestyle business and you invest it into an investment business. And those assets make money while you sleep. That is your strong core that will build your wealth over time. And it's the same with business, right? It's all about building a core. When I talk about business, one of the mistakes that we entrepreneurs make is we go out and we, seek out new customers. We seek out new markets because we think that's how we're going to build our business and grow our business and make money, right? But, the way to grow a business is not to be constantly seeking new customers, which is sort of going wider, right? And broader. It's to go deeper. It's to build a relationship with your existing customers, right? It's to strengthen that relation, strengthen that core. If you delight your existing customers and you look after them, you will build a core of fans who will go out and they will tell the world about you. And if you look at any strong brand right now, brands like Apple, brands like Starbucks, brands like Red Bull or Monster, these are all built on strong cores where they focused on not going out and advertising and going and finding new customers all the time, but focusing on the core, and letting that core do the work, the heavy lifting for them. It's the same with success. So much of the temptation as an ambitious person with success is to focus on the achievement. And that's sort of everything that's outside of you. So for example, you say, I want to earn, 200 grand this year, or I want to buy this house, or I want to do this physical challenge like an Ironman triathlon, for example. It's everything that's outside of you. That's the achievement. But ultimately, where the focus should really be is on the core. How did the core change as a result of achieving that goal? So we have to focus on the internal part of the goal process. The goals themselves are arbitrary. We set these goals as markers. It's like a race. We run 10K not because 10K is an important length of any sort, right? It's because we know that's what we've got to reach towards. We could run 20K, we could run 42K, whatever it is. It's just a marker, right? The point is not achieving the 10K, but what did you become? What did you change in your core to get to that point? And if that was a goal that significantly stretched you, you would have to change as a person, right? When I did the Ironman triathlon, I had to learn new things. I had to become essentially a different person. I had to learn how to look after my nutrition. I was 40 years old and I had to then start focusing seriously on my health and fitness, right? And I hadn't really done that, for the first 30 years of my life, right? So that's the key is, it's about the achieving. What do you become and how does your core change and how do you work internally on yourself to achieve these goals? Because, going back to the runner analogy, the junk miles analogy is setting lots of goals and focusing solely on the achievement of these goals. And after a certain point, after your initial goals, those extra goals just become marginal. They have no meaning. They just become, a habit, right? Which adds no sort of extra happiness or no sense of, there's no sense of growth in your life, right? So that's the junk miles analogy with success. The solution is to focus on the core, which is, what do I need to become? How do I need to change? What have I become as a result of achieving these goals? Set yourself goals that are going to stretch you. Don't beat yourself up if you don't achieve them. Focus on how far you've come, not where you're trying to get to, right? So it's the internal work, not the external prizes that we need to be focusing on. And lastly, think about the word core. The word core itself comes from the French word cœur, or, if you look at other Latin languages like Italian, cuore, or Spanish, corazón, which means heart. Core means heart, right? So I don't know what the Latin is. Somebody's going to tell me, right? But nearest to that is the French word cœur, which means heart. Core is your heart. That's where it comes from, right? And that's the courage and the bravery. And, what it comes down to is this, when people ask, what is success about? What is all this goal setting about? Why do we do this? Well, the reason is about building courage. Whether you're a man, woman, adult, child, every day we face this decision between going down the path of letting fear control our life or going down the path of overcoming fear and building our courage. Every decision that we face in life is a decision between accepting fear to, control that situation and lose to fear, or overcoming fear and growing as a person. Whatever it is, even in small decisions, but certainly in the big decisions. So for example, if you decide to go and say, right, I'm going to quit my job and travel the world, what's going to happen is lots of people are going to tell you, and I've done this, right? Lots of people are going to tell you that you can't do this. Think of your family, think of your career, think of X, Y, and Z, which is all the fear factors in your head, which will now challenge you, because now you're faced with this decision. Right, I want to do this thing, which is I want to quit my job and travel the world because it's in my heart. It's what I want to do. It's part of my calling. I can't explain it, but I just have to do it, right? And all these people are giving you these reasons why you can't do it. And now you're faced with a decision, which is all about building a strong core. Do you let fear win the day? Because fear will push you back into your comfort zone, right? It will push you back into a decision or into a no decision comfort zone where you're numb, where you don't face success and you don't face failure. You face nothing except more of the same, right? Or will you step outside your comfort zone and will you take the first step in achieving that goal? And that's what it's all about, because the more confidence you have, the more you practice stepping outside your comfort zone, the more you can experience the miracle of life, essentially. People say life begins at the end of your comfort zone. It's so true. You see it in the analogies of sport, in business, in traveling the world, whatever it is. That moment when you step outside and you feel that fear, you feel things could go wrong, you feel out of your depth. That moment when you suddenly realize, actually, this isn't fatal. I'm not going to die in this situation. And you start to calm down and you feel, wow, this feels amazing. That's what it's all about. That is why we should focus on building a core, that internal work to make us stronger, more confident, and more brave. So hopefully today's video is helping you understand a little bit of why, we do this goal setting thing. It's not about these sort of big man macho goals. It's about growth. It's about pushing ourselves forward. It's about achieving new things, not because the achievements in any way have any kind of meaning, which they don't at the end of the day. Whether you make money, whether you own this car, this house, it doesn't matter. What really matters is what you become in that process. And that is so important. Yesterday I talked about how to deal with failure. The best way to deal with failure is to make it part of your process. And to make it part of your process, just accept that this is something that's going to happen, right? You're going to go out, you're going to fail, but it doesn't matter. It's what you become in the process that counts. Thank you so much for your comments. If you like what I'm talking about, or if you don't like what I'm talking about, leave a comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I will be back for day 7 tomorrow to share you more of my tips, tricks, hacks, techniques, my successes and failure on this Level Up Challenge 2017. More to come. Thank you so much for your input so far. My name's Graham Back. Goodbye.